DreamWorks has shown us some interesting families over the years, and the mother figures in these movies have been especially memorable. Even when just simple supporting roles, they leave a lasting impact on the audience. With Mother's Day upon us, we ask the question, which of these moms is truly the greatest? I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and this is DreamWorks Moms Good to Most Good. Now, when it comes to DreamWorks, we really couldn't think of any moms who would fall in the evil category. So this list is a ranking of pure goodness, and we'll be ranking characters specifically based on their motherly skills and morals. With all that said, we'll be starting with the least good and working our way up to the most heroic. Starting out at the bottom, from Joseph, King of Dreams, we have Asenath. Asenath became Joseph's wife in the latter half of the movie and was a likable enough character. The only reason we place her as least good on this list is because we're ranking her based on her abilities as a mother, and we don't get all too many interactions with her and her kids. We see that she's supportive of Joseph in all he does, even getting the other women in the home to help plant in the fields, and aids her husband in designing where the grain will be stored during the years of famine. She was one of the few level-headed people of the movie, having been the one to believe Joseph's innocence and trying to sneak him food, and attempting to console her husband when he saw his brothers. But while we can only assume that she instilled that patience and insight in her children, we can't be sure. Next up, we have Janet Benson. Much like her husband, she isn't as accepting as other parents on this list. She nagged her son about being able to find a career, wanting him to follow in her husband's footsteps and be a stirrer. When Barry continued to be distracted, Janet had been the first of the couple to come to the conclusion that it must have been a girl that was making a career so hard to choose. After Barry stuck to his guns about the humans, Janet did eventually come around to supporting him and being present during the trial. Moving on, we have the top mother figure in Ants, the Queen. We don't see many interactions between her and Bala, but when we do, we see that she's a typical royal figure. She wanted Bala to follow her footsteps and accept her place in the colony. She supported the idea of Bala marrying General Mandible, even though her daughter clearly had some issues with being with someone like the General.
We don't seem to have anything in common. The guy's a stiff.
We don't want to label the Queen as bad, though. She does express concern when she thinks Z is holding Bala hostage, demanding that the General does all he can to find her and have her returned home. When Bala reveals the General's plan to flood the colony, rather than brushing off her concerns, the Queen listens and tries to calm her people and keep them alive. After Z swoops in to save the day, having the colony use each other to escape the rising waters, the Queen allows Bala to choose Z as her partner and concedes to her daughter forging her own path just as she wanted. Next, we have Penny the Porcupine. Like her husband Lou, she doesn't have much of an influence on the story and just goes along with whatever plan is being held in place. Like the other animals, she's impressed with RJ's know-how and agrees on the idea of stealing from the humans in order to gain more food for winter. We don't feel right about placing her any lower on our list since she is protective of her three sons and encourages their adventurous spirits. But we don't feel we can rank her higher, since she also allows her children to be in harm's way as they gather food from the humans. Our next spot goes to the fire-breathing and princess-keeping dragon. Though the story focuses more on Shrek and Donkey and whatever adventure they're on, we see more of Dragon in the third film. She was present at Fiona's baby shower, expressing that motherhood could be rough. Dragon was the main caretaker of their children during the films, and was clearly upset when her offspring were ripped away to be gawked at through a window while Charming was taking over far, far away. Next up is Joseph's mother, Rachel. Now, Rachel clearly adored her sons, but she had a special place in her heart for Joseph and later Benjamin, with the other sons from Jacob's first wife. Since Rachel had such a difficult time conceiving, Joseph had been dubbed their miracle child, and it led to some bad blood in the family. Like Jacob, Rachel had no issue showing favorites, and made Joseph a multicolored coat while his brothers labored in the fields in drab, well-worn clothes. Even when the other sons complained about how Joseph was treated compared to them, Rachel and Jacob didn't take the complaints to heart.
You need to be more understanding of your brothers.
We can give them some credit for wanting the best for Joseph, encouraging him to be educated rather than spending every waking moment doing manual labor. But it led to others becoming jealous to the point that they sold Joseph into slavery, something that may have been prevented had they been more sensitive to the needs of their other sons. Next up, we have the Queen of Far, Far Away, Queen Lillian. For those that have watched the Shrek films, you can likely guess why we had to place her a little lower on our list. While we understand that having a child that is cursed to become an ogre was likely not an easy thing to overcome, Lillian allowed her husband to make the call to keep Fiona away from everyone at night and eventually be sent to the Dragon's Keep, waiting for her to be rescued by some random prince. However, Lillian doesn't fall any lower since she was also the one that insisted they go to Rumpelstiltskin, desperate to get her daughter back because she didn't feel the fairy godmother could be trusted. When Fiona showed up with Shrek and was still an ogre, Lillian had been the one to try and see the positive side, stating that they looked happy and she wasn't going to risk losing her child again, just because Harold was being stubborn. Not to mention that awesome moment where she freed Fiona and the other princesses from Prince Charming by headbutting through a couple of brick walls.
Why don't you just lie down?
Moving on to the original dragon rider, Valka. A brave warrior, she had tried to take a dragon on by herself in order to protect her son, only hesitating when she noticed that Cold Jumper was more curious than malicious. The interaction led to her taking on a life of studying dragons and traveling the world, freeing them where she could. As noble as that is, it's the main reason we can't place her any higher on our list. She herself admits that she had regrets not returning to Berk to be with her family. She explained that while she still loved Stoic and Hiccup, she knew that her views on dragons wouldn't be accepted by the other Vikings, and so she stayed clear of her old village. Though to a degree we can sympathize with her, but it's hard to rank her any higher as a mother when she basically chose dragons over helping to raise her son. Moving on to the mother from the movie Home, Lucy. Mother to Tip, we don't see a lot of her in the film, but we're also taking the series on Netflix into consideration with her placement. She encourages her daughter to strive for the best, both in school and at home, and allows Tip to express herself through various creative outlets. When she and Tip were reunited at the end of the film, she was shown to be just as frantic to find her child as Tip had been to hunt down her mother.
I was so scared we'd never see each other again.
We can only imagine how hard it must have been to score the countless homes and families trying to find her child, and Lucy had every right to be hesitant about O and the other Boov. Instead, she trusted Tip's judgment, giving O a home when all was settled. We see as the series goes on that she treated O like a son, always showing him affection and making sure he knew he was family. Next up on our list, we have Rita's mother from Flushed Away, Mrs. Malone. Like her husband, she was patient with her many children, and while she expressed concern for Rita's safety when trying to help the family, she also trusted her daughter when it came to Roddy. She tells Roddy that she knew another mouse that had been a pet, making a comment that he had been horribly lonely with no family or friends to speak of, showing that she may have thought Roddy had a similar situation, despite him insisting that he was happy where he was.
Terribly lonely for him, though.
She wasn't shown long in this interaction, but it expressed that she was pretty intuitive and nurtured everyone around her, be them her children, her husband, her mother, or a mouse that was trying to get back to the surface she had never met before. Next is the woman who mothered Ramses and Moses, Tuya. Wife to Seti I, she was seen as the more patient of the two, but still held the same cool composure as the other royals were expected to. She clearly sided with Moses on giving Ramses a chance to prove himself worthy of the throne, hinting that the celebration held in Ramses' honor had been done with her encouragement. When Moses initially meets Zipporah and humiliates her in front of everyone, Tuya is seen expressing disappointment for her son's actions, and leads to Moses actually wanting to make peace with Zipporah. Later in the film, when Moses finds out that he was taken in by the royal family, Tuya expresses that she had always seen Moses as her own and loved him as she did Ramses.
You are our son. and we love you.
We don't doubt that for a second, seeing as how she immediately took to Moses when she found him in the basket. Finally, we reach Princess Fiona. When Fiona became a parent, she was far more up to the challenge than Shrek was and was happy to celebrate the occasion with her own mother and the other princesses while Shrek was looking for Arthur. When she was given a dwarf from Snow White, Fiona expressed disapproval at the idea of not being able to do anything for her baby.
He's a live-in babysitter.
Where's the baby?
In the last part of the third film and the beginning of the fourth, Fiona is patient and loving, taking to parenting quickly and lavishing her children with love and making sure they had all they needed. When Shrek is about to fade due to his contract with Rumpelstiltskin, he tells Fiona about the life they had together, and Fiona lights up at hearing she had children, revealing that she had daydreamed about the life she wanted in the Dragon's Keep, and that included the kids that she got with Shrek. Moving on to our fourth most good mother, we have Alex's mother in Madagascar 2, Florrie. The first to recognize Alex as her son, she and Zuba celebrated Alex's return and helped their son adapt to the life that he had been torn away from. We learn that Zuba had blamed himself for losing their son, and that the two of them had to face the cruel chance that Alex was likely killed by poachers.
My son is home!
When Alex was unable to defeat Tsitsi and faced being exiled, Florrie and Zuba gave up their status and home to stand by their child. When Zuba lashed out at Alex for not being a real lion, Florrie had been the one to get Zuba to stop being stubborn, reminding her husband that they just got their son back and they shouldn't risk losing him again over a fight. Next up, our Bronze Medal of Good goes to Spirit's mother, Esperanza. A leader among her kind, she raised Spirit to follow in her footsteps so he could eventually take over and care for the small tribe of wild horses. As Spirit is growing up, we see that Esperanza is a little embarrassed by some of his antics, but overall encourages Spirit to try new things and try to approach things in his own way. When he's captured by the humans, we see her trying to reach her son and aid him. When Spirit warns her to stay back, so she doesn't put herself or the rest of their kind at risk, we see the heartbreak she feels at having to leave him behind to care for the others. Luckily, they are reunited in the end, and she happily welcomes Rain to their fold. Our Silver Medal of Good goes to Yocheved. Mother to Moses, Miriam, and Aaron, she is seen at the beginning of The Prince of Egypt. She leads her children away from the soldiers hunting down the newborn sons, going to the river to send Moses off in hopes of saving his life. Now, the Nile River is nowhere near the safest place on earth. Teeming with life, including crocodiles and hippos, we see firsthand that Moses nearly didn't survive the trip down the river. But we conceded that it was a desperate situation, and that she felt she had very little choice. And she clearly cared for her other children as well, encouraging them to stick to their morals, and taught them to never give up their hope for freedom or their integrity when it came to their community, as oppressed as it was. It was a pretty close call, but we have to give the Gold Medal of Good to Poe's mother. Like our silver medalist, she hid her son away so he had some chance of surviving the attacks that were taking place. But what gave Poe's mother some extra hero points was the fact that after she calms Poe down, she's seen attracting the wolves and Shen to her in order to be sure she was steering them away from Poe. This act cost her her life, and if that's not love, we don't know what is. Yeah, self-sacrifice is an easy way to earn a Gold Medal of Good as far as we're concerned, and Poe's mom definitely deserves that title. But what do you think? Who is the most good mother in the DreamWorks universe? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and binge our Good to Evil playlist, where we break down the morality of the characters in your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, Happy Mother's Day.